Hello all. As many of you know, we're fast approaching the summer solstice, which is a very important milestone in the astronomical cycle of the year. This is the longest day of the year. It falls on June 21st, 22nd. Depending on where you are, the peak will be at different time, but it's approximately that date. And basically it's the sun at its highest peak in the sky within a year, within the cycle that it's doing around. So it's the time of obviously the new season, right? It's officially when we say in America that the summer begins. It's a change to a cardinal energy from Gemini into Cancer. It's also the energy of fire, obviously sun, just fire, and so that element is in its ruling during this time, and of course it's just generally the energy of changes, shifts, and new beginnings. And it's been known since the beginning of time, since pagan times, on how people were commemorating this energy. They knew about it, they were building calendars based on it, or different kind of calendar like structures, like Stonehenge is known to be constructed based on the solar position during solstice. And of course, because the harvest phases, the seasons of crops have been tied to this date as well, it was also that shift from doing a lot of work in the field, doing a lot of work to nurture, to seed, to plant, to nurture the crops, and then going into summer where people could take a breather, could take some rest and actually rejoice, right, in this new sunny, bright season. With the energy of sun, with the energy of fire. So a lot of fire related rituals have been born. And actually, since I'm from Ukraine, there is a very famous Ivana Kupala night that we celebrate in July, which is not exactly the solstice, but it's close enough when, and you can look it up, but yeah, it's definitely a very deep meaning to the energy of fire, to its healing powers, and also the power to ignite inspiration, well-wishing, and also ignite that passion overall, right? It including relationships, including you pursuing something that you're passionate about in your life. It's also about courage, to be the boldest version of yourself. So why am I talking about these energies and what they mean? I hope that you will be able to embrace these, to have maybe a meditation or a prayer, or just spend a few minutes of breath work and just kind of going within and seeing what that reflection gives you, what kind of topics come up, and how you can tie them to the topics of solstice, because that's really how you respectfully commemorate this energy and how you make the most out of it, right? So it helps you ride that wave into something new and beautiful. So let me check my notes. What else? So we are celebrating light within us. It is the time for reflection, so it's actually what I was just talking about. It makes a lot of sense, since this is like a bit of a break from the usual activity, from the routine, and it allows naturally for introspection and reflection. It's the opportunity to slow down and notice things that you don't necessarily notice or appreciate, or like it can be both about the positive and the negative, right? And then if you spot something negative, something that you want to get rid of, you want to move away from it so that you can start the new season afresh, then again the energy of fire is going to help you burn that away and heal from any of those remnants of unhealthy vibes and patterns. Lighting fires and bonfires, of course, a big deal. I already mentioned the Vanakupala night that we have traditionally in Ukraine, in Eastern Europe overall, where bonfires and either jumping over bonfires or doing ritual dances around them are definitely a big part of that celebration. And it's a spiritual high point more than anything else, so you can really get into the high vibration sooner. You can go to the next level of ascension sooner. You can switch timelines, whatever it is that you feel guided to do. If you usually like can do or not do it, or maybe like skip it or procrastinate, this is the time to take action. The energy of fire is telling us a very masculine energy in its nature, and it's about taking action. If the Gemini, which was the energy that it's the passing energy, right? That the season we're living behind is more about thought process, thoughts and words. The energy of fire, that the solstice is all about. It's like that point of fire that's separating the Gemini energy of air and the Cancer energy of water. But that point of solstice is bringing in this extra spice to the situation, right? And the fire energy is definitely asking us to take decisive action. Okay, so now I'm gonna switch to the actual reading for the twins. I want to give you some insight. I got my Beyond the Lemuria deck, which I love for events like that, and I feel there's something deep for us to know, specifically for the twin flame journey. One of the big events that happened just a couple of weeks ago is Venus going retrograde and going into Leo, right? So the energies that I was just talking about is actually very much synergized with that Leo vibe. So it's basically, and Venus is telling us or is helping us learn more about the way we receive and give love, right? The languages of love, different patterns in love. And by love, I mean any kind of trust and love in relationships. It doesn't have to be romantic love necessarily. And Venus is going to stay there till October, allowing us to reflect and maybe adjust the course of action when it comes to building those relationships or maintaining them or improving them. So yes, let's see what the solstice point exactly brings us with that regard. And then I'll look at it from the oracle perspective with the Beyond the Lemuria deck, and then I'll go into tarot and we'll see what kind of opportunities it creates for the twins and what kind of messages we're supposed to get from our guides. Okay, let's get a card for Divine Feminines first of all. And I'm thinking whether I have a book. I do have a book. That's good. I know I just used it the other day, but I love this deck, and you know what? I missed it a lot. So I have my excuse. And we have the card Starseed Elemental. Ooh, this is beautiful. I love it. I love it. Starseed Elemental. Let's see. So it's talking about children as teachers. If you have children of your own or you have kids around you, this may be the time to pay special attention to what they're telling you, maybe some subtle messages, or even just generally the way that you interact together. I know that I will be around kids during this time. And by the way, solstice is not just the one day. We are already in that energy as I'm recording this, and we will stay in this energy for a few days after that peak happens, right? So I know, for example, I will be among kids, and I'll be very curious to see what that interaction is like, what kind of new insights and new truth am I gonna learn, right? What kind of conclusions am I gonna make for myself. lightheartedness, fun, joy, laughter. Just giving you some ideas how to spend that quality time with kids. The child within, important part. Maintaining an inquisitive perspective, wonder, and imagination. Beautiful. I love it. I love this vibe. Okay, I'll skip the story. Let's do divinator meaning. Bring a sense of play, lightness, or spontaneity to your life. Be inspired by children or your inner child. You are encouraged to add inquisitiveness, fun, and laughter to your reality. This card may signify the presence of a child in your life. Spending time with children will help you experience the world from a fresh perspective and see them as the inspiring teachers they are, which is basically what I was just talking about. But yes, we got it from the book now. Let's see what do we have for divine masculines now. So what I'm also getting is, since this was the card for divine feminine energy, it's helping divine feminines connect to that nurturing side of theirs, to that motherly energy. So it's definitely helping you bring out that joy, laughter for your inner child, for your conversation with your inner child, but it also brings out more of those motherly features and helps to heal certain patterns maybe that you have unhealed with your own mother, and helps you kind of bring it out towards the humanity and towards your children, of course, existing and or potential. For the masculines, we actually have two cards. We have number 40 and number 42, and it's interesting. Have radical expansion, I love it, and reclaim your energy. Both beautiful things. They do look a little weird with the lights, but yeah, maybe like that. I'm gonna start with radical expansion. Living and loving at full capacity, being unapologetically you, exactly what we're just talking about also, right? Be the boldest, most courageous version of yourself. Empowerment, owning your own power, being visible in the world, having fun with your magnificence, letting go of judgment, creative exploration, radical ways of being. And the message is, it's time for expansion. You can be as big as your energy wants to be. Stop and consider anything that is holding you back. This card is the permission slip that allows you to let go of limiting stories and take up all the space you need. Have fun unleashing who you are. As bold and radical as some of your ideas or offerings might be, who is to say they are not what the world is waiting for, what the world wants? Take note of any judgment or authentic expression towards yourself or others. Be mindful that creatively exploring unrefined expression may be what is needed right now. Creatively exploring unrefined expression. Think about it for a moment. Remember to center yourself in your heart and be the masterpiece your soul always wanted you to be. Lovely. And the other one is reclaim your energy. Recapitulation, owning your power. Again, where you put your energy is your choice. Overcoming triggers, energy vampires, reclaiming your soul fragments, observing the observer, shifting victim mentality. So to me, like if we speak about tarot, this is like movement from 5 of Pentacles into 6 of Pentacles. This card encourages you to be aware of where your energy is going. If you are not at your optimal energy level, it invites you to consider the core of why this may be. You have the power to own your energy and choose where you direct it. Look at situations that trigger drama and anxiety to reduce energy loss. Detach from environments or people that are not healthy for you. It is up to you to make the shift. Victim mentality is no help, so realize you have the power to transform your life and choose healing and self-empowerment. It's time to kickstart the upward spiral to abundant energy and soul presence. So they're both actually about expansion and ascension. And I was again just talking about it, that it's easier during this time to do that expansion and ascension, to skip timelines, whatever it is that you're guided towards at this time. Okay, let's get to tarot. I've got my beautiful Thelma deck. Let's see what kind of opportunities have been created for divine feminines during the solstice time. What are DFs supposed to know about the solstice and how it impacts the twin flame journey for them? Queen of Wands. Yes, beautiful. Love it. There's a sunflower. And the Hermit. Okay, got it. Yeah, so again, the sunflower is prompting me that connection with nature, right? So divine feminine is embracing that high priestess self, right, in a very practical way, hence the minor arcana here. Like, I'm getting the word witchcraft, which may have different connotations to different people, but I'm gonna use it because I'm getting that as a message, right? It's learning more of that witchcraft that helps discover new paths, that helps see clearly, that helps heal, that helps expand, right? Like those tools become more tangible and accessible for divine feminines. And in essence, that's helping her be more brave, more blunt, and more herself, right? The supporting energy here is Hermit, interestingly enough. So it's also saying that at this time, although the Queen of Wands is usually quite charismatic and outgoing, this is the time to kind of nurture the craft, the skill, the new knowledge within yourself, right? So it's more like to kind of gather the energy and take care of it and expand on it without scattering it around in different events, conversations, conflicts for some. It's important to kind of keep that energy close and live in it, marinate in it if you wish. Okay, for masculines we have Page of Swords. How is this solstice important to masculine journey on the twin flame? Masculine path on the twin flame journey. Okay, I got a few cards. King of Swords in reverse. Three of Pentacles. Yeah, so masculines are learning that they don't have to figure everything out by themselves. When it comes to creating something important, something big and beautiful, there's always God in the situation. So that already kind of by definition means that they're not deciding by themselves, all by themselves. And usually there is somebody else who is involved or who can be involved to be a subject matter expert and to call the shots, to be able to provide the information. So sometimes it's actually useful, that's the energy that comes out for the masculines. It's actually useful to stay in the page energy rather than king, right? Like in this case, because you're becoming more open-minded that way, right? And you're not limiting the outcome to your own decision or even to a decision, right? You understand that other people involved in this collaboration and the spirit, they are all worthy and they will come up with something amazing if we let them. Okay, now let's get some, I've got my After Tarot deck. Let's get a little bit of an insight of what's happening with the twin flame connection at this time. So how is the solstice impacting the twin flame dynamic? The dynamic between DF and DM at this time. What is it like during solstice? What is the result of solstice? Let's put it that way. Okay. We have King of Pentacles in reverse and Ten of Swords. Yeah, so we're basically seeing that in the connection, the twins are acknowledging that there is certain pain from past experiences that's impacting the connection directly. that is not necessarily allowing to come in fully in the material and start building together. Like, this is not the time of building, but I was just talking about that during the solstice itself, it's important to marinate in that energy, to reflect, to understand where to go, to choose a direction, right? The decisive action is going to come after. So this is more of a courage to see rather than courage to do, if anything, but it requires just as much energy, really, right? So the twins are seeing that it's not time to build together just yet. It's coming as soon as there's more healing done on this past heartache, whether it's from each other or from other partners or from parents, you know. There are things to heal, to be in that healthy state for yourself and for your partner. What else did I want to ask? So let's actually get, we had the cards of advice. Let's get the potential outcome from this solstice energy for the twins, for the connection. King of Swords, Queen of Wands, and 10 of Wands. But this is a different 10 of Wands, where he's actually holding on to that one wand, and it starts like, it's like hope, really, right? And here we have King and Queen with different suits, so they're not a couple, but there is, and like if we imagine them to be as the masculine and feminine energies, right? Which makes sense. And we're just talking about Queen of Wands being the feminine. We're just talking about King of Swords as masculine. So this is like saying that they don't necessarily have to be together immediately to be in their element, or to be doing their thing, or to be living their best life, right? Like, there is, again, because the burden dropping process is underway, there can be some shifts, but it's gonna take a minute. It's gonna take some time to get their mind around it. But you know, bonding is accessible on the friendship level, on the collaboration level. It's like exchanging of useful ideas, right? I've been doing this way the last 10 years. Like, oh, really? And I've been doing it differently. How about you try this, right? It's like that sort of conversation and communication that I'm getting. Okay, I think I'm gonna end it here. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you'll use the solstice energies wisely, and I'll be back with my readings very soon. Bye, everyone.